guests, Madam Professor Doris Lieth, the Assistant of the President, Mr. Pierre, the Secretary General of the University, the Registrar, DVC, Professor the Dean of Business Faculty, Dr. Nda, all directors present here, dear students, and all with cordial respect. I stand on behalf of the authority of the Vice Chancellor and of course the President here to welcome you, Madam Professor Doris Lieth, to our campus today. It's an honor to have you travel all the way from Brazil to come here to make an exchange with our community. Madam, you're very welcome. In this way, I use opportunities to convey to you a very special message of gratitude from the Vice Chancellor and as well as from the President himself, that you feel at home and that the university is very proud that you took all this long journey to come to our campus to make this presentation. And of course, to tell you that our student president is right here, as well, who also will present and convey to you as well the strong will of our student community to have you be in this event today. So this is what I can say. The ICT University is an American-based group university. It was created in 2010, and the ICT University is one of the top in Cameroon and Africa when it comes to technology. We offer programs at the bachelor's level, master's, and PhD. Our students have a wide community of both on-site and online. In this light, this workshop and conference or seminar is viewed with students across in Cameroon and other countries because we have an active online platform where our students take lectures as well. And just to let you know, the ICT University is well accredited in Cameroon and is under different membership in Africa as well as the US. In this light, we're very happy to have you here, and we are actually looking forward to this discussion, which will take us home as positive contribution to academics and our work-life experience. Thank you, Madam.
Professor Iso, for that very quantitative presentation. We want to now invite Professor Nda, Dr. Nda, for the presentation of Professor Doris Lieth.
Thank you very much. Bonjour une fois de plus, prof. Une fois de plus, bonne arrivée à Yaoundé. When I met Professor Doris Lieth, Peçanha, at the airport till when we separated, we spoke only in French. She speaks 4 languages, among which is English. Professor Doris has a very full CV, but I'll try as much as possible to summarize it. I've already told you she speaks 4 languages: Portuguese, which is the mother tongue, fluent in English, in French, as well as Spanish. Those are the 4 languages she speaks. She's obviously competing with the Pope, the new Pope, Pope Leo XIV. Pope Leo XIV speaks 7 languages. Okay, she's a psychologist, full professor of psychology from 1995 to 2016, and Emeritus professor in 2016 at the Federal University of São Paulo, that is in São Paulo, Brazil. She's a full member of the Paulista Academy of Psychology, chair number 19, since 2013 in São Paulo, Brazil. And she was elected to the 19th board of directors of this scientific organization from 2022 to 2025. She's also professor on the postgraduate course in Organizational Culture at the São Carlos School of Engineering of the University of São Paulo. One of the topics she'll be talking to us this afternoon about. She's a researcher at the Brazilian Academic Consortium for Integrative Health, and she has taught a number of subjects, among which include organizational culture, psychotherapeutic theories and techniques, developmental psychology, and yoga, that's personal and social change. For those who practice yoga will understand better. Like I said, concerning her education, she's a psychologist, also at the Pontifical Catholic University of Rio Grande do Sul, Porto Alegre. She has a master's degree in developmental psychology from the Federal University of Rio Grande do Sul, Porto Alegre, and doctoral education in business administration from the Faculty of Economics, Administration and Accounting at the University of São Paulo. She also has a master's degree in Portuguese and English languages and literature, still from the same university in Porto Alegre. She has a PhD in clinical psychology from the Institute of Psychology of the University of São Paulo in Brazil, and Sorbonne University in Paris 5. She also underwent a psychosomatic training at the Paris Institute of Psychosomatics, doctoral education in psychodynamics of work, that is Laboratory of Work Psychology at the National Conservatory of Arts and Crafts in Paris, postdoctorate, University of Quebec at Trois-Rivières, Canada, University of Paris 5, and the French National Institute of Health and Medical Research. And since doctorate till today, she has had a number of scientific exchanges with colleagues from these universities in Paris. Her professional activities include the following: decades of work in the field of psychology in schools, in companies, hospitals, prisons, communities at risk, and in private practice as well. In 1980, she was elected the principal of a public school and also founded a clinical school for children in Porto Alegre. At that time, she published more than 100 scientific dissemination articles in a local newspaper in Porto Alegre, and a book titled Beatnik Generation, Literary, Socio-Historical, and Psychoanalytical Analysis by a very renowned publisher, Voces. That was in 1987 in Rio de Janeiro. In the 90s, she started publishing scientific articles as well. She was elected twice to the Board of Teachers Union at the University of São Carlos, where she signed a Charter of Principles in Defense of World Education, together with representatives from various countries, including our own dear Professor Pierre Fonkwa from Cameroon, during the second edition of the World Education Forum in 2003 that was held in Porto Alegre. She also perfected and developed psychodiagnostic techniques with individuals, groups, and organizations, from family business, methodology for systematic psychodynamic diagnosis and intervention. So please do not go and commit suicide because you don't know how to solve your problems. She is going to enlighten us on that this afternoon. She has trained researchers in Brazil and abroad, and these universities really sought her expertise as far as assessment techniques. The assessment techniques she developed to solve some of these psychotherapeutic problems is involved. She had developed one to families and groups in Brazil, and then they carried out a comparative project in the Quebec region with the support of the Canadian Ministry of Health. She guided the implementation of this research and intervention project in the local centers of Sherbrooke, which lasted for about 8 years since 2003. Lately, the scientific exchanges with the Research Center on Labor and Development of the Conservatoire National des Arts et Métiers resulted in a joint participation in the following events. First of all, the International Symposium on Health and Work, a critical and psychoanalytical approach. Third cycle of virtual classes of the São Paulo Academy of Psychology in 2022. She has also co-authored a book on clinical thinking organized by her fellow academician Walter Trinker, which was launched in Brazil just last year in 2024 and is currently being prepared for release in France. She is also a member of the editorial committee and advisor to scientific journals in Brazil and Asia. She is a researcher at the Brazilian Academic Consortium for Integrated Health, and they are organizing the Third World Congress on Traditional, Complementary and Integrative Meeting, which will take place in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, from the 15th to the 18th of October this year, 2025. She has the following distinctions. First place in the psychology entrance exam in 1973. Honorable mention for the doctoral thesis awarded by the Polystar Academy of Psychology in 1999. Recognition of notorious knowledge by the Brazilian Society of Psycho-Oncology in 2005. Her main focus is this. She is interested in the healthy development of humans, their labor organizations and environment. To this end, she uses a framework of comprehensive psychoanalysis and her knowledge and experience with organizational culture to help workers. And like I said, she speaks Portuguese, which is her mother tongue in Brazil, and she's fluent in English, French, as well as Spanish. Thank you very much. That is a snapshot. Professor, I've tried as much as possible to do a resume of your profile so that the members of the ICT University can have a better appreciation of who you are. Thank you.
The most important thing is to be here with you, and that you can change and talk and be together and open, everybody, open. You don't know where you go, but you go and imagine the best. Well, many thanks to the ICT University. First, my compliments to Professor Victor Barica, President of the ICT, and I have been in touch with him. Professor Jean-Emmanuel Pondi, Chancellor, thank you. And Professor Pierre Foucault, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, for all your hospitality. I'm being here because of him. Dr. Nda Greenbaum, Dean of the BMS faculty, for received us so good, so well. Thank you very much. You can tell me when I have it 2 minutes before. Okay, thank you very much. Well, my presentation, it was so long to come here, many things happened. I'd like to put ICT University first, but it was not possible. So, sorry. And this work, I present it at the annual conference in Hamburg. As you see, it was about the international family enterprise. So the focus will be family enterprise today. And I want to share with you the things we developed. So, tradition and innovation in family business. I think tradition, innovation is very important. Innovation, you have to innovate, to create, to do things, to develop ourselves, our country, our groups, our university. But tradition is also important, very important. So the equilibrium between both the equilibrium is very important, I think. Metaphorically, I can say, we fly. It's so good to fly, but you have to have our hoods. So, fly the sky, but the hood. So, tradition and innovation. Yeah, I think it to Africa is very important. It's very important for everybody, but you have a strong tradition. You shared it with your country, with your world, and I have emotions when I talk that. Well, so at the beginning we develop instrument. As you see, as you know, I'm psychologist, a clinical psychologist, so we worked a lot with families and developed instruments for diagnosis and treatment, and this I was called to Canada. They thought it's that way that you think the things will go in a good direction. So I was consultant there, and I worked during about 10 years. The project I developed was taken in Canada, in Quebec region. So afterward I thought, if it works with family, why doesn't it work with family business? Because the most number of enterprises, of companies are family firms. So it's the beginning of the history. I tell you also, I would like to talk, because then I will forget. Consortium, at the right line there. Consortium for Integrative Health, CABSIN. We are promoting the Third World Congress about this subject. It's a great event. I invite all people. I invite you that are there, those that are online. And thank you very much for all the presence here and online to go to the Third World Congress in Traditional, Complementary and Integrative Medicine that will be held at Rio de Janeiro. It's good, isn't it? Rio de Janeiro from 15 to 18 October 2025. Yeah. Sometimes I may okay, the language 225. So it will be a great pleasure. There I work with nature, health and nature. And I am in the Committee of Health and Nature. For education, for students, for development, so important. Traditional medicine. We have more about some 150 countries that are together with us. It's a great movement. So I'd like to say too that you have a journal, a scientific journal. It's called the Boletim. Academia Paulista de Psicologia. Paulista Academic Psychology. Boletim. It's the oldest review journal, a scientific journal in psychology in Brazil, and it works always. Okay, so you can present your paper. It's psychology or things that touch human beings, education, social science, etc. So you can write in English or in French or Spanish or Portuguese. It's welcome. Okay. So the contest I told you. So we developed the structured family business interview. The orange I told you, studies in the practice with families during decades. Yes. So I can say in a few words that's defined by a circular character and by an integrative approach. So each member has an influence over others in a circular process. It's not linear, but it's complex. And the whole system has a synergic character that's larger than the quality of its element. The whole is more than the parts. In family context, the notion of dysfunction is important. It's important because you don't say it's bad, it's wrong, it's correctly, incorrectly. We prefer the name dysfunctional because you are always seeking for homeostasis, for equilibrium. So everything is okay. If you have someone disease in a family, okay, but you say no, it's not okay. Okay, but I want to say that it's a whole. So we have to see things more profoundly. Everything has a whole, has a place. So some dimensions as conflict, difficult communication, values, vision, all these things, feeling, generation problems are taught, observed in family firms. The same dimensions that you have, the same variables that you have in family, we have also in family business. So this there are many ways of seeing family firms, but in general, we see the owners, we have the owners, the family, that are members, sanguine members, and the enterprise. So they worked together. The importance, what's the importance of this? To access family dynamic dimensions. The system, the whole system, it doesn't matter the system. It may be a company, institution, an education school, doesn't matter. So we have this dimension: communication, rules, leadership, conflicts, aggressiveness, affectivity, individuation, and integration. We have defined each of these variables. We have published it in a paper at Boletim Academia Paulista de Psicologia. So I try to do my best that everyone could use this. So each variable is defined, and for each one we have 4 levels. Communication is clear, is direct, direction, always in these 4 factors help to proceed to statistical tests. So we do qualitative and almost quantitative approach, methodological. So when you see that, you have to analyze all these dimensions. We have the health of a business, of a company, of a family, and it helps us to promote family firms, resources, and development. So we see the force, the strength of a family film. So after the diagnosis is made, you show it, you explain it to the firm, to the owners, and they can see visually the points that are strong and the points that must develop more. So you choose one or two, because in a systemic way of seeing things, everything is correlated. So if I'm better in communication, the rules in general will be better, leadership also, etc. So everything is connected. So you choose some of these variables to work. It works because you have made a lot of research, so it really works. When you choose one of them, you show, you discuss about it, and you always show the forces, the positive aspect, it works. Well, there is a question of methods. I will ask it. Methods based on evaluation of the general methods are questionnaire surveys, and a second kind is methods based on the evaluation of group answers. In this type, the family is viewed as a group and examined by means of its human relations. You are there with them. You have observed, and you develop a collective entropy. So it gives us, it's more, you have to work more, but it gives a lot of information. So when you really want to know what's happened, as when study the organizational culture, we have to have an approach, qualitative approach, to be face to face. With this, we use other instruments, questionnaire. It's important to test with statistical, and I have been I give courses to engineers, so to talk with them, I talk with them with statistics. So, but I have to understand things profoundly. So, in organizational culture, we use it as part of the method to study organizational culture. Only to show you it's sunshine, very well known water in organizational culture. So you have a level that is conscious in organizational culture. The things we see, observable. So you are beliefs and the values not so easy to observe, and then you have an unconscious level, and this is this one that engineers asked me to work with them. I have also formation, education in management, culture and structure organization. But they asked me to understand the unconscious level of the organization. So when we have this approach, we have results that are very important, very interesting. But many people, you are sensible, so you can get many things, many unconscious level, but you have to be attentive to it. Not everything is shown so clearly. So, let's see the tasks. The first one, let's imagine that you would have to change your job place with a month. I'd like you to plan in a team how would this change happens. So in this question, we evaluate the communication, rules, leadership, conflict, and we also assess the capacity of the family business to change and innovate in that question. Second, we evaluate the roles, the integration or cohesion. When you are doing something hard, you are doing something doing something work. There is a problem if it's fast. When you are doing some work, when you are doing some work and it gets difficult to finish it by yourself, what do you do? There are people that cannot be helped, cannot be asked for help, etc. The third, please let me. What things you most? Please tell me what things you most like in yourself, so you can evaluate affection, individuation. Individuation is a very complex dimension, and the other conference we see more clear what does it mean. And the six, you can see conflict, aggressiveness, and individuation too. Imagine you are working in your office and you begin to argue with your colleague. At this moment, someone knocks at the door. When you answer the door, the person with whom you are arguing swears at you. What do? So like you can see, I will knock him. There are someone that told me that. So you can see aggressivity, individuation, the conflicts, how they manage it. And the last one, each of you are going to choose one or several members of your team. It can be anyone, and you are going to show this person how much you appreciate him or her without saying a word. So it's very difficult. For Brazilian people, it's very difficult. I think for Camaleon, it will be difficult too. Without saying a word. It's a challenge, but it's so good to see affection, how people communicate. It's very rich. This one, sometimes people are not easy. In Canada, they are not easy with that because they have more people they are not like us. So it's more difficult for people in some countries. So you can see also the cultural difference. Cultural difference is very important. The context we live. How to use. The different relation construct may be evaluated through the interview. All the interview you can see. You can use each task of the SFBI to access the overall dynamics of a family team or a group in a school, doesn't matter, in a hospital, doesn't matter. You team groups to help us to access the dynamics. But family dynamic evaluation may be facilitated by using two of these tasks. We have 6 tasks, but we can use only 2 to evaluate. More work for us, and it works. So this concept is analyzing with the section of aggression. This concept is analyzing the 50 task. So we developed a 5-point Likert type scale. So number 1, very, very dysfunctional. Number 5, very functional. 3, at the medium, more or less. So it's good not to put 3. And so there is a side that is dysfunctionally, the other that is functionally. We'll put numbers because it serves to statistical testing. Each dimension is evaluated by items scratched over a continuum. Well, I told you that. Very dysfunctional. So there is a scale. We developed also the scale. The inspiration was an interview made by a Brazilian author called Ferris Carneiro. I always named her name and recognize it. So he developed an interview, and so you appropriated the scales, the protocol of results, and you do that entirely. It was we did it for business. So we can access by this interview intangible variables described in the organizational management literature, like the systemic constructs that has a strong impact on the health of the organization. This interview may help to develop new studies and the practice about organizational health in family business. All the constructs are connected. Dysfunction in one dimension impacts the other and the system as a whole. Consistent with the systemic background of this interview that postulates circular effects like feedback and resonance among the elements of a system. The family business system seeks homeostasis or balance. So everything is good, it's okay. You have to understand it, it has a value. And when you talk about that, things get more clear and the change is possible. The success of the systemic family business interview depends on the interviewer ability to deal with people and the groups, because you have to know when you stopped, when you go on. It's enough. This question, it's enough answer. I get the information I want. Communication is clear. I know that I can pass to the other task. So the ability to deal with big groups and with the objective of each task, in order to know when to deep the answer or to put an end to it. It also depends on observational sensitivity, and the quality of the records made by the observer. The observer helps a lot. So we have the biography. Félix Carneiro, it's the author of the interview, family interview. We have a master, it's my student, Doris Sibeli. She studied only leadership with this, because for students, too much. Too much, not fatigate the student. They have to live. They have a good life, time for seeing good. See the things you want. So one thing you can do a master in thesis, leadership, okay. You will go study, conference, okay, not more than that. But when and I am consultant, so I have to the entreprise, I have to work. But you take your time. So Katia Mercier, c'est my colleague at Quebec. We published the results of this practical systemic intervention familial au service de psychologie au Québec. On a publié en France, c'est des results. Je parle français là? Ok. Je peux pas to read any word in French, so French comes. I know, but I cannot read in French. Okay, Katia Mercier, thank you very much, from Canada, Quebec, a great fellow, psychoanalyst too, so he helped a lot in all the research. And we conduct the formation, research at Sherbrooke University. And this Peçanha, it's me, Doris, Lieth. Doris Lieth, da família empresa. Português I can speak. A metodologia para o diagnóstico e intervenção. Boletim, then you see the name of your journal, Boletim Academia Paulista de Psicologia. Everything I told you, you can have there. So the criteria, all the criteria, the results, I have in my computer too, the scale, everything is there, you can read it in English. Okay, so all these are the bibliography related to this tool. Yes. With another colleague at Canada, the University of Quebec at Trois-Rivières, we conducted reliable in confidence study related with other tests. It's that, and thank you a lot. Thank you for your patience.
It's more of a worry. Like, let's say you're in a family business, and since you're a business student having proper training, you would like to impose the new methodology, but the situation happens to be that the people, let's say the people at the top hierarchy are important, that is the ones occupying the important positions, have some kind of old mentality, and since you are a newbie and at the lowest rank, but though you have the new aspect and try to implement it, what is the step to take to be able to like convince them and make the business succeed? That's it.
Thank you. Any other question, please? One lady should defend the ladies. Question? Yeah. We love your proximity.
Thank you very much for giving me the floor. Good afternoon, dear Professor. Good afternoon, dear administration. Professor, you said something at the beginning of your talk. You said the world's biggest businesses are family businesses. And in Africa, we have that culture. We have that culture in Cameroon. We know about families that have big businesses. So my own question is concerning those who did not have that opportunity for their family to have a family business. What is the advice you can give to those who want to build a family business, taking into consideration all your research and taking into consideration what you have seen and putting it, as our classmates said, putting it in the African context? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Another person of the Students' Union Government is very diligent. Any other question? I'm hoping this time from a late you, but it is still coming from the chair.
Good afternoon to everyone. Good afternoon, Professor. My question is, in a situation where your parents had a business before they gave birth to you, and you grew up, you and your brothers, and finally you saw the business, how the business was, and at a certain time your father cannot more support the pressure of the business. And the funniest, not the funniest thing, my principal worry is that you don't believe that you and your brothers can continue with the business. So, in that situation, how will, and you believe you can do it, but him, you don't believe because you explain that you don't know how he started.
Very good question. I begin with Fabio, because your name is more easy to me. Fabio is like Portuguese, Brazilian name. So we carried out this research in São Paulo, and then the country of São Paulo, one of the cities, because São Paulo is a great state. We have the capital of that is São Paulo, but you have other cities, other villages and cities. So we carried this at São Paulo, and have founding by the Foundation of Research of São Paulo, FAPESP. FAPESP is the most important foundation granted research in Brazil. Other question, I think the other one are related. You asked me about family business. If you believe something about the family, but they do not believe they can succeed. What you can do is ask me that. It's a very good question, because you have a conflict there. If you want, the other doesn't want, it doesn't work. So it's important to clear that and ask more questions. It seems you put always in yourself. It seems that you are not believing in the results. I understand like this. Don't put it to the other, but put it in yourself. I think that you are not believing in the results. So is that why? So you can search. And I can give you an example. I was consultant in a family firm, and everything seems well, good, yeah, well developed. They have a new plant, donc to move to a new plant it was easy to answer, but there are many things that happens. As I told you, organizational culture, you are the elements we see, the elements that underline. So, and you pay attention to all that. So when you enter to the firm, there are gardens, flowers, very beautiful. You go into the building, it was not luminous, not dark, a little bit sad. I have the first interview with the owner, and the telephone talk. The telephone at that time, telephone means telephone, and so we have signs there. And if you want to speak with me, I'm there as a consultant, and he is addressing to other. The communication is indirect. Communication is indirect, not clear. So I told him, please, do you want to speak with me? If yes, you have to be with me and you, and not another. It was clear. So he stopped. Okay. So when you begin, you have some questions. When today I showed you only the instrument, only the interview, but you also develop questions for approach organizational culture. And so there, what appears, this man, he could not go on, not continue. He doesn't believe to succeed, will succeed as you told us. And why? Because of your family, but he was totally unconscious. His father has had a great problem, an accident, and so on. So he repeated her father history, and he couldn't go out of that. So the family business was blocked. He was in place. There was a new building in construction, but everything was blocked. So then we kindly talk about that. As I'm a psychologist, it was easy to me. So it repeated that. So sometimes in family you have so many things, so myths, values, ancient problems, things that block. And to answer another question, what you can do, what your suggestion for a family film. And one thing that's very important is to pay attention to the whole at the firm, and get attention to that, because sometimes, in another case, the woman, the wife of the owner, was a very important person in the business, but at home, it was him, the chef. So how we can change this? But the ability, the capacity that she has was very great. So the host at the firm, he has to listen even if he doesn't eat at home. So all are very, very important. So things like our history and so many things that are important. And you asked me, I thought about another case, but I can told you in the next conference. Toxic family, what you can do if a member that disturbed the family, we are exclude what you do. So we never, I'm a psychologist, we never exclude people, members, never. So you have affection and acceptance for everybody. It doesn't matter the behavior he shows, because one thing is behavior we show, but another thing is your inner being, and the inner being will be the subject of our next conference. So the individuation, each person has a great value. So you always look at the light inside everybody, and you believe in him. Because if you don't believe, you'll not succeed. As a student in a class, if you don't believe you'll succeed, it doesn't work. You have to believe in people. So we never exclude the dysfunctional things we talked about. When you talked, people has insight, and the change comes naturally. I'm not there for change, for changing nothing. It's a process. The results, they will come according to the process. Many consultants are asked to improve our organizational culture or to change it. You cannot change a culture in some days or months. It's not possible. It doesn't exist. We have been another enterprise company that they have a very, very top consultant, and the results questionnaire giving nothing. The reality was another one. So the process, and each firm will do her process, and you are there to facilitate the process. As our students, it's a process, each one will do, but you cannot, the results, you pass this school, we pass this test. Oh, help, we're there to give you orientation. So never exclusion. The decision belongs to the family business. We are the consultant. As when I am a psychotherapist, I don't change the life of others. I show things, and he or her would find her way.
Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup, Madame la professeure Doris, pour cette intervention. Cette intervention, oui, cette intervention répond à un besoin ici au niveau de l'université. Ce besoin est au niveau de la recherche méthodologique. Parce que nous avons qualitative 1, qualitative 2, quantitative 1, quantitative 2. Ce besoin, attends, des gens bavardent. Ce besoin répond à la recherche qualitative 2. Et vous avez su non simplement nous donner comment il faut traiter les outils, comment il faut les outils sur le plan méthode et technique, les outils, mais également vous nous avez donné des connaissances dans une théorie qui est l'approche systémique, et que nos étudiants ont besoin de ça pour comprendre des situations complexes. Et troisièmement, vous avez permis de réfléchir sur des situations complexes telles la famille, qui ressemblerait également à la famille professionnelle. et vous nous avez permis de comprendre que c'est pour résoudre ces problèmes, comme chercheur, ce n'est pas facile. Je vous remercie. Certainement que la deuxième partie tout à l'heure sera encore beaucoup plus intéressante. Parce que ça va porter sur le développement des potentialités personnelles, sur l'estime de soi, sur, j'allais dire, sur le bien-être au travail, pourquoi pas dans la famille. Je vous remercie. Merci beaucoup.
I have two books here. They are from Walter Trinka, and I want to give it to the library, to the but it's mostly to educators, psychologists that can okay. And I'll show you also this one, Voyage au cœur du monde. Oui. Okay. Oui. Just to, because I'm afraid to forget so many things. Afterwards. Thank you. So, Walter Trinka is Emeritus Professor, my fellow at the Academy Paulista of Psychology. Oh, I made a mistake there. Number 40. Me, I am 90. So, he created this model that is comprehensive psychoanalysis. Walter Trinka is a very important author, emeritus professor. Oh, there is a great PhD formation. He belongs to the International Psychoanalytical Association. It's not easy to belong to that. Because sometimes people say, oh, I'm a psychoanalyst, but it's not so, so in a strict sense. And he has many premiums, honors, publications. The books are translated in Portugal, France almost, Canada, something in Italy, Belgium, four languages about it. In French, we have a lot, many. And I love his approach. And I try to show to the world that. So, oh, sorry, I was in Portuguese. Objective. Mainly to present the two psychic instances, self and inner being. Self, often we think about ego, ego, but a self in his conception is much larger than that, and the inner being. So we present also an overview of this comprehensive psychoanalysis. Why I talk about this? Because it is a neo-scientific model in psychoanalysis. It's not all day that new things are done. A domain is so hard, so difficult. It's a new scientific approach. It's a global integrative model with possibilities to respond to the challenge of society, current and future, I believe it. So the distinction between the self and the inner being, so one thing is the self, the ego, the other one is the inner being, may collaborate with the mental health of people, groups, teams, organizations, situations, when you keep in mind these two things. and you try to observe it. Justifications. Why we talk about that? Learning, innovation, human development, productivity, and sustainable. So important is sustainable business nowadays. The results depend, among other factors, on the psychological health of people and the health of the organization, culture to which they belong. I think everybody agree with that. Health, people health is very important. So the concept of self is resized to fill a gap in the clinical literature. This model is composed by the interaction of various factors in an integrated and multidirectional way, taking into account the characteristics of modern time. We are at the 21st century. Edgar Morin told us a lot about the complex knowledge. You are in times of complex knowledge, so linear things doesn't answer anymore to our questions. So I think this model, it's according to this time and also respond to some challenge. The advantage of this model lies in the differentiation between self and the inner being that enables successful understanding and successfully dealing with a wide range of phenomena, individuals, school, families, and companies. And it doesn't matter where you are. If you keep that in mind, in my experience, it helps a lot. About the context, there is in general a gap in the dialogue between schools. Each one is in her field. So, but the future in science points to the complexity of knowledge, to inter and transdisciplinarity. Things became so complex that you need others, you need other disciplines to help us. Experience of it. Another important thing that in general psychoanalysis talk about problems, troubles. So, and health. What is health? It's possible to be good, to be well, bien-être. Alors, then, the experience of self-awareness. They are not touched in general psychology, in general psychology, but it's a reality in human beings. You can be self-aware, you can expand our conscious. So experience of self-awareness through contact with the core of the center part of one's being. It's essential to that expansion of consciousness. So, the self and the inner being. It is an exciting theme because we live in a highly sensorial civilization. You are always screen, things, touch, instrument, cellular, sensorial things, in which the context of globalization gives preference to sensorial attitude. Many times we are judged by the clothes you are, by the car, by your family, by the shoes, the tennis, etc. So it's a very sensorial, sense are important, of course, but there is a civilization, and this is a problem, we will see that. Obviously, we cannot do without the sensorial elements of experience. But we must take in consideration to what extent sensoriality predominates over the psychic process as a whole and determine personality standards. We have many problems, many healthy problems with the exacerbated sensoriality. It's concerned also with the fragility. People that are very weak, fragility. So they need to show something, to have something. Without it, they don't feel well. They don't feel. Okay. When sensoriality places mental space at its service, the resulting experience relates itself to things, with the individual no longer free to feel new qualities of things. Things, sensorial, you put all that in our mental, in our being. So, things. And it may happen that you can relate to other person as a thing, not as a human being. Human resource may be things for having a result, some results. When the mind is saturated with sensoriality, its mobility will diminish. So mobility of the mind is very important. In psychoanalysis, we talk about free association. So art is sometimes used in some engineering faculty for engineers get more free and can innovate and can create, because art allows us to contact our inner being, to contact another dimension, a dimension in material dimension. With psychic mobility, the mind is not fully imprisoned. Patterns, formulas, systems, theories, and pre-molded notions and structures. How many people fight because I belong to that religion, the other to another. My part is that, the other is that one, and you fight, and you care. So, because you take it as ourselves, and your ideas, and you fight also about the theories. I follow that this way, and you follow another way, and not your way is no good. Mine is better, because I'm close, I'm imprisoned to some patterns, some way of thinking, some formulas, some systems, some theories, notions, pre-molded structures, and nothing of that is your inner being. This is the self, in the self, the ego. So the method is theoretical clinical research based on the distinction notions, self and the inner being. This form of psychoanalysis attempts to deal with the mind sensoriality using as basic point of reference the contact with the inner being. So many factors used in psychoanalysis may be understood here. This model offers a well-organized general vision of fundamental process of psychic life. So Freud, Klein, Bion, Winnicott, all these great authors have been and this studied. So it's a great work. And also Freud and Bion, they talked about sensoriality. We never touch this element, but they are important. Bion studied how we think, and Trinka also. How is the structure of our mind, how we think. And Bion said that you have beta elements and alpha elements. Beta doesn't serve, doesn't serve. And alpha is with alpha elements that you can create things. It's linked to the open mind. He talked like that, alpha, beta. He was a mathematician too, so he was a great man that studied a lot, and he thought that you put names sometimes they are not good, they are labeled. So he used mathematics to communicate psychoanalysis. So he talked about alpha elements and beta elements. Well, we go to the core of the question. Who am I? The great question, the philosopher Socrates. The most important thing is to know yourself. Who am I? That's the question. Who is Milka? Because I was in Finland, and it will have an exposition, wonderful exposition, and it is great artist. He talks about Micah. Donc là, you have Micah, and Micah look at this basket with many things. All these things are part of me, and me who I am. And sometimes you are there, right there, here, my clothes, my family, my diploma, my profession, my color, all things there. So sometimes we look at the cellular phone, and to be in the media, social media. If you're not, social media doesn't exist. There are people that say that. So you look for be applauded in medias. We look there, you have a mirror or the phone. This is self. So the self is concerned with that, what I am conservative. I belong to the South Africa. No, I belong to Cameroon. Cameroon, what you are? Asian, black, white, communist, illegal, female, trans, gay, all these questions. But nothing of that is the real leader. So, the self, okay, in English. The self, Walter Trinka, is very large. All the elements of culture begin to ourselves, our development, the cycle of development, is the cycle of development of a business, the maturation process, neurological process, the experience, the heritage, everything is in ourselves. There is a field of experience, communication, and relationship. Relation, interrelation, all time is a product of dialectic process. So you did adaptation all time. You adaptate ourselves. I'm here because I'm my ego, myself also. So it's good. It's okay. The organization may have, but the self. If you consider only the self, it may have not an integrative power to rescue the person after a painful situation. If you rescue all these elements that you think that characterize us, but are not ourselves, we cannot go out of a difficult situation, of a problem, of a business family that goes not very well. So the self must communicate, must be in touch with inner being. So we have here a figure, inner being. The inner being has, metaphorically saying, illuminated the self. In the self you may be organization, disorganization, conflict, many troubles. All troubles are here, but not in the inner being, because inner being is essential core of our existence. It's the life, and it's so difficult to talk about life. It's so great, this thing. So there's no trouble, not pain in the inner being. All these problems are here, the self. The inner being, it's always okay. That's the life inside yourself. Some words about the inner being requires psychic mobility. Because if my mind is close to standards, to patterns, I have not psychic mobility. I cannot perceive new things, new qualities. Some words can describe the process. Freedom, the openness to contact. It's not to do what I want. This is instinct, is impulse. No, freedom is very profound, core of your being. Openness to contact, to new and vital experience. So when you are in contact with the inner being, you can be creative, you can innovate with art, with the core of one's being. You are no more in the competition world. Competition world doesn't matter. I have a great value. Which one of you have a great value, you can do great things. Your country, not compare with any other. It's unique. Cameroon is unique. When you feel the identity of Cameroon, it's integration, the dimension you talked in the first meeting. It's integration. So we have individuation, to be yourself, but integration is also part of the equation. You are a nation. You are a people. So spontaneity. You're not afraid when you contact with the inner being. You are yourself. You are not omnipotent. Not that. It's freedom. It's spontaneity. It's life. So life, as its life, and Valdemar says, its life as it appears in its pure and original state. Sustain one's one life and exerting command over mental process. I command my own process. My mind is not commanded by the others. I saw what the others say, you're not fight against them, I understand, but my command I feel in myself. So when I in contact with us, we dream tonight. And so we remember, and sometimes our dreams tell us a way we can understand our dreams. For instance, we go to see the nature, and you see a tree. You have a meeting with the tree. You can embrace the tree. You have a meeting. The tree talks to you, and you talk to the tree also. I love to talk with the tree and embrace them. The nature, they are not things. They are being. They are being. Everything is a being. So you can, when you go to this, in phenomenology, in the phenomenological approach, we say, the methodology of phenomenological approach, we say subject to subject. There is no more a subject related to an object, but subject to subject. In the meeting of both, we have something new. We have an understanding. We can capture things. So, in the inner being, we have the joy of existing for the sake of existing, the ability to play. Sometimes we think, what's the meaning of the life? The life is the meaning. The joy of existing just for the sake of existing. Sensitivity, dreaming, spontaneous image. So, one side dysfunctional, you can have hallucination, we can have very hard psychic troubles, but in the other way, the way of the other side, the side of expansion of consciousness, we can have a sublime experience and good health image. So he speaks also about the radiance of the world, spiritual memory and inner silence. So how many memories these people, this country have? And how rich is this? How rich you are? How many value you are? How many things you can do? So the contact with inner being and self, it must be conscious, and it must be unconscious. For example, when I dream, there is a contact of my inner being with myself, but I'm not conscious. And many things happen, and I'm not conscious. But always there is a contact. We may be conscious or not, but everybody has this inner being. In some way, he's acting, influencing the self. The more he is influenced, the more healthy we are. There you have levels of contact, levels between the self and the inner being. States that are conscious, unconscious, and the levels high, not high. I pass this quickly. And you also have the degrees of contact. So that figure is important. We have at the center the experience of the whole of ourself. The 0 point, and then you have the expansion of consciousness, many degrees, and many degrees of distance of contact. More distance, more problems, and more expansion, more you feel good, you feel okay. So we have the fragility, we'll have no more time, sensoriality. It's another figure that shows the contact. So, the present contribution can be seen as a possible basis for opening up to a politics of the sensitive, opposed to the chaos and the destructiveness of today's world. We are in another framework of cooperation, of in yourself, of love, of beauty. The order, the harmony, the Greek said that the harmony is the order of the universe, is the beautiful inside that. It reminds us of the resistance that the contact with the inner being can bring to a mechanical world. It's a resistance, it's a fight. Comprehensive psychoanalysis allows us to define the conditions of possibility for implementing creative response, what prevents us from leaving room for the expressions of what is most unique in us and in others. Then we'll have innovation and development. So this contact with yourself, this is individuation. The dimension we saw in my first speech, individuation, to be yourself. So, thank you. Beginning with Freud, id, ego, and superego. there are unconscious parts in the id that are the impulses more connected. It's a theme, a name, a word, a concept related to our body forces, impulses. There is unconscious mostly. Ego, we have unconscious and conscious part. And the ego, according to Freud, is that it connects us to the world. When we proceed on psychiatry diagnose, we look at the ego. How does it work? Affection, judge, think, all these are dimensions of the ego. So the psychiatrist wants to know if you are in contact with the reality. So how is your thought? Things your speech, it's real, it's not real, hallucination, illusion. All this, it is ego. But so, it's mental, all this dimension. And Walter Trinka, our author, and he goes further. For superego, there are the norms, values that you have incorporated in our, from our culture, from our family. Walter Trinka goes far away. He talks about self. Winnicott, that's another important author in psychology, he talks about self. Jung, that teaches us a lot about culture, image, things like that. He also talk about self. But Walter Trinka goes far, and he puts in this the maturation process, the culture, all these things in the ego. So, the inner, the other question, no, it's the self, it's the inner. The inner is unchangeable, he's always there. He does adaptation, but it's you as you are always since the beginning. How much you change. Look at your photo when you are a baby, and look at you now. Is it me? If you look only to the appearance, you say, no, it's not me anymore. But it's me. So this unchangeable, strong part, immutable, no, doesn't, it's there always. This is the inner being. It's we talk metaphorically. It's like the light you are. You have always been a light, and the light that turned off, it's always there. So the other question, the things we are in a world that sometimes discriminates us, and so many things that help you suffer with that. So many suffering happen in many places, but this the appearance, and this difference are from the self. Me and you are the same. There are no difference in our inner being. Our inner being, you are the same. You are the same value. There is, but each light is different. There is individuation. You are you, and me and by me. There is difference, but in the value, you are the same. You are so great, me and you, no difference. You can be more high than me, but in the inner being, this value, they are the same. So it is a immaterial world. You cannot measure our being for things material. Africa is poor. No, Africa is rich, is very, very rich. So we have to be like some country that's like this. Like, no, you have to be yourself, develop yourself in contact with others, adaptating, because the self has adaptation in the inner. When it illuminates itself, we have good adaptations. We not say, no, it's America, I don't want it. No, it can be good. There are so many good things in American too. Okay, like that. If they discriminate us, but no, there are someone that do that. Okay. So I have to complete this. I have some example, because you asked me what you can do in school, organization, etc. It's to love people, to accept yourself. Firstly, it's love yourself. Sometimes we're not so good issuers. We judge ourselves. Love yourself. Accept things. Everything is okay. It's a process. It will be better. For instance, a child that cannot read, cannot write. When he writes, it's wrong. But do not say it's wrong. And try to understand why he wrote in that manner. And Peçanha, it's a great psychologist that teaches about that. And you have, there you are in a new politic, in a new education, freedom education. And you have some great authors as the School of Summerhill, Neil, Peçanha. He did also a great work with child that have a great problem, the aggressiveness, psychopathic problems, terrible. And he could do well. Bio, he treated at hospital psychotic people. Freud told us that only neurotic people like us could be treated. But Bio, he treated people that are completely crazy. Accepting them. So what's the meaning? What's the meaning of that? There is a child in Canada in a school, because they want me to go there to treat the family, to help them to the diagnosis and the treatment. And there was a child that doesn't learn anything. He doesn't want, he doesn't succeed in reading, in writing, and someday the teacher put a box in the classroom, and in a systemic way, she told everybody to put papers there and they write something, what's happened. I don't remember very well the history, but finally, doing that, the teacher discovered why this student doesn't learn, because he doesn't want to betray, to trade, to give out of your familiar roots. Your father was analphabet, doesn't know how to write. How can I go to another way? I have to be faithful to my family. So I don't want to learn anything. I just want to succeed in school. So the self, with the culture, I came from a culture that doesn't study, illiterate, so how can I? But when we are open to this, so the inner being begins. So it's possible. You have many examples. There is also the inner self. Je peux parler en français? Well, parce que c'est une expérience en France. Donc il y a des cercles of petits philosophes. Des philosophes qui go... the circle of petits philosophes qui go in school, French school that are many problems. So a philosopher works with the child. And the family, child's family, they are terrible, many conflicts, aggression. So they all, during all time, they are told, they are speaking, oh, my father hit my mother and my sister, it's that. So he asked the child, what you could do in another way, it will be possible, do something different. They didn't say it's wrong, don't do that, behave well, no. What other ways you could be? So in this school, there are meditation, they did silence, respiration, breath, inhale, breath. And so the family doesn't change, the world doesn't change, but the child, he was very peaceful. So we see in the film, in the documentary, you can get it by internet. So he was cool. And his sister is the same, you're fighting. And he looks at the window, Lord, he looks in a great peaceful way. Has not changed, but he has changed. And if he has changed, he will influence, of course, the way. So you are not used to talk about inner being. Inner being is also a notion of Walter Trinka. No other author talked about this. And you have discussed this with the philosophe at CNAM, Conservatoire National des Arts et Métiers, parce que je travaille avec eux aussi. And one of this philosopher, he goes to Brazil and he participates in symposiums, conferences, and he told us that he knows a lot about philosophy, philosophers, and he told us that he never saw a conception so well constructed like this. It answered to the question, what I am. Or I am what we are. It's large. It's large. It's an inner being, eternal being. So it's why Walter Trinka
analyser, comprendre et résoudre les problèmes complexes dans le système exogène, c'est-à-dire vraiment qui sont en dehors de moi. Elle a pris deux exemples de systèmes complexes en famille, entreprise. J'ai compris ça. Deuxièmement, j'ai aussi compris qu'elle nous a amené, elle a ouvert une réflexion, une discussion avec nous-mêmes sur comment comprendre, analyser et résoudre les problèmes dans les systèmes endogènes, c'est-à-dire en nous-mêmes. C'est-à-dire entrer dans ce qu'on appelle la science de la voie de l'intérieur. C'est comme ça que j'ai compris. Et j'ai beaucoup apprécié parce qu'elle a terminé avec ce livre-là. On a dit, le titre c'est
Voyage au cœur du monde.
Voyage au corps du monde. Et elle a dit que le monde, c'est nous-mêmes. J'ai compris qu'il faut, dans le comportement humain, savoir que nous sommes dans la complexité. Et que dans les systèmes extérieurs, c'est aussi complexe. Dans les complexes pour comprendre et voir, mais dans le système intérieur, c'est pareillement complexe. Il faut faire attention. Merci madame.
Merci.
Thank you so much, Professor Rebecca. And now we're going to invite a representative from the President's office to give a talk from the President.
Oui, dans une heure.
Thank you so much, dear Professor, Emeritus Professor, for this presentation. We really need it, and the students needed it, and they followed it, both in French and in English. On behalf of Professor Victor Marica, the President of the Board of Trustees, we want to say thank you for coming to the ICT University, for doing this wonderful presentation, and for enriching the university in a more expanded way. Thank you, Emeritus Professor. And to the participants, we want to thank you for your collaboration, staying here thus far, to ensure that this presentation is a success. I think it increases the faculty of our Emeritus Professor that she really came to Cameroon, came to the ICT University to make sure that she brings in her contribution to the ICT University. We also want to thank Professor Pierre Fonqua, who made all the arrangements to ensure that this is a reality. Thank you, Professor. We are delighted to thank Professor Alain Isso, the representative of the Vice Chancellor, who is now in Vienna, that's in Austria, to also give a powerful presentation on international relations. Thank you, Professor Alain Isso, for being there for the university. And to the venerated Dr. Nda, who is the coordinator of all of this program, we want to say thank you, Dr. Nda, for making this a reality. And to all of you, I want you to give a clap offering to yourself for participation. The only advice I have for you and the challenge I have for you is do all to be like her. She is not just a professor, she is Emeritus Professor. Some of you need to know the difference between a professor and an Emeritus Professor. An Emeritus Professor is a professor of professors. When you want to go in the College of Professors, those they call Emeritus Professors, they are the ones who teach professors. So she is in that capacity, not just a professor, but what? An Emeritus Professor. She's at the highest level of Thank you very much. Thank you, Emeritus Professor, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lieth, the President, representative, and I will be going over to Professor Peçanha. Closing remarks.
Thanks very much, Madam Professor Emeritus. My colleagues have also said everything. And to the Fonqua, we made just two remarks, which I will call takeaway remarks. And anybody here going home should be able to define those issues, the complex issues, knowing oneself and knowing one's inner mind. Myself, I had no idea about this, but it's a strong philosophical opinions. And I signed on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, as my colleague mentioned, of the President mentioned, who is coming in Vienna for a conference. And in that capacity, I want to resolve this assembly. And thank you very much again. Grace, your day in Cameroon, and wish you a safe flight back home when you go back home.
Oh, my impression is it's wonderful to be here. I'm very, very glad and honored to be at ICT University. People, the audience is very kindly, very attentive. The questions were very rich, and you could go longer with talking with your answer. It was very rich. I think it was very important. And people say me something that touched me, that are aware now of the inner being, of the value more than before. So it's great. And I hope you can exchange more business, family business. I'm so glad to see that interest you and you as a management. So I hope it will be helpful for your companies. So many thanks.
What I got from this conference was very insightful. First of all, the main point that I got was about our inner self. I got that being able to access our inner self, and understanding it will permit us to harness the outside world, which is full of challenges, but that when we're at peace inside and in our minds, we can actually harness with a lot more of dexterity. What I would tell all of the students who are not present today is what I said before, that we have to know how to know our inner being. Knowing our inner being will permit us to better attack and assess the outer world while keeping that internal equilibrium. Yeah, that's it.